rock bottom for you, I believe was it a car accident?
It was a car accident, but essentially the car accident was the best part of all of it. I had been at, I would say, ground zero for a while. I was, just making really poor decisions with my life. I was stuck in that victim mentality of, well, these things happened to me when I was young, and I can't be successful because I was told I couldn't be, so I'm just going to keep screwing up. Bad relationships, bad friends, just poor decisions all around. And I was in my late 20s at this point, and I knew inherently I wasn't living the way I should have lived. I knew I could have been better, and there was part of me that felt there was more for me, and then the voice inside that said, well, no, you're not good enough. So I let that voice sort of dictate how I ran my life, and then one morning found myself in a terrible car accident. And it was essentially the turning point, because now I had been given no more options. I was now faced with being in bed for 4 to 6 months, broken bones, not being able to walk or do much of anything for myself. And that was the point where I kind of had two choices, sink or swim. So I swam really hard and fast.
You know what? Sometimes, it takes a situation like that where you have no choice.
Right.
And I will speak from my personal standpoint. I have been in a situation where almost the exact same thing happened to me. And I'll tell you what, I was sitting there and it was almost like I had two decisions to make. I could either let myself sink and continue to drift into oblivion, or I could do something about it. And that's why I am just incredibly grateful to talk to you, because you're doing something about it.
Yeah.
It's hard because self-pity seems to be a big component when you're down at that level. What do you think of self-pity? Tell me.
God, I always say stop having the pity party. I was like VIP host of my pity party for years, because it's a comfort level, right?
Yeah.
Misery loves company, so my company was just this whole mentality of, life sucks and this is what it is. But as I started to mature, and friends were getting married, and friends were going on to work in great careers, I was like, well, how long can this really feed into itself? How much longer can we go in this cycle? So it was almost begging for something to happen, like a sign to say, you know what, Michelle, we've had enough,
Right.
But self-pity was the name of the game for me. Everything I did was in pity for myself, it was subconscious decisions I would make, whether it was who I was dating or things I would agree to do. It was all a reflection of how badly I felt about myself.
I can see that. And, it's, for a lot of people, for me particularly, my motivation to pull myself out of that is, well, first and foremost, I felt like I was meant to do something different. I had a motivation. There was something out there for me. That was one motivation. The other was my children, I'll be honest with you. So when you were in the car accident and you're laying in bed, what was your motivation to go on?
I knew at that point, I was very lucky. I had been hit head on. Clear day, no other cars on the road. This car just decided to find me and hit me head on. The car accident was so major that the CEO of Mercedes-Benz called me. I was in a Mercedes, and he said, I'm looking at the pictures. I can't believe you're alive. And I was like, when I heard that from just an outsider, I heard it from my attorney and the ambulance people and all that, I was like, wow, yeah. Because it was hard for me to look at the pictures for a while. I was so in the moment of my arms are broken, my legs were, everything's broken, I can't do anything. And then I looked bigger picture really quickly, and I was like, wait a second. Here I am, I'm alive. I didn't have a scratch on my face, which was a blessing in itself, because I would have been, disfigured or whatever. I had to do what I knew to do, and I journaled, I wrote every day about, I made promises to myself. I kind of just got my feelings out that way, and I watched a lot of Ellen DeGeneres. Everyone who knows
her.
No, but her spirit, let me tell you, it's a dark place to be when you're alone in bed for a few months. And my friends would come visit, and my mom was with me, but I just, it was on me to stay happy, because it was very easy to fall down like a rabbit hole at that point. And I would just wait for 4 o'clock every day, and she'd come on and start dancing. And I remember thinking, because she says at the end of the show, be kind to one another.
Yes.
I always was such a believer in kindness. I'd always been a people pleaser, and I thought, here she is, a people pleaser, but doing it for the greater good of herself, and she's happy. She's not pulled down by the needs of everybody else. She's this powerhouse phenomenon of just giving and loving and being, and I knew that's who I wanted to be. I just didn't know how I was going to get there or what I was going to do with it. I had no intentions on being a writer.
Right.
I'm only a writer professionally for a short time now. So I started making plans. I like kind of made a blueprint for myself and said, okay, this is where you need to get by this time in the year, and we'll see where it goes from there. So within a few months' time, I healed, packed up, shipped my car off to Florida. I was in New York at the time, and decided I was going to start over in Miami. And I literally gave everybody in my life a week's notice. Said I'm leaving next week. I threw myself a party, and I never went back.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's phenomenal.